not before taking something he'd definitely miss. And I made sure he'd never find it again. Never tried to help someone only to get insulted for it. Hit that like button, because today's story is the ultimate petty revenge served across international borders. Subscribe for more satisfying justice stories just like this. I did a 3-week road trip across the United States over a decade ago. I'm from the UK, so it was one of those once-in-a-lifetime backpacking-style adventures. We traveled coast to coast, just me and a couple of mates, soaking in the landscapes, the food, and, most memorably, the people. And let me tell you, most of the people we met were genuinely kind. Friendly in that way Americans often are. Generous with their smiles, always curious about our accents, ready to point out a hidden gem of a diner or offer directions without being asked. But this story? Yeah, this is about the one guy who reminded me that not everyone deserves your kindness. It was late, somewhere around midnight. We were in a lively town, debating which bar to hit next. The street was buzzing, music leaking from doorways, the smell of hot dogs and beer heavy in the air. That's when I noticed him. Some guy, completely off his face drunk, staggering down the sidewalk with a friend in tow. He dropped his wallet and sent his bank cards flying across the pavement like poker chips. His friend, who was clearly the more sober of the two, crouched down to help him scoop them up. The drunk guy, meanwhile, lit what looked like his last cigarette. Then he did something that said a lot about him. He tossed the empty cigarette packet backward, right where he'd just been, like the street owed him something. Then, as if life had just completed its mission for the evening, he collapsed in a half-seated sprawl on the sidewalk. That's when I noticed it, something the friend missed. About 2 feet away from where he fell was his driving license. You know, that one card you really don't want to lose on a night out, especially in a foreign country. I called out to him from across the street. "Hey, mate, your driving license is still on the floor." At first, I thought I was helping. But what I got in return? "That's a cigarette packet, you dumbass. Off back to England, you..." There was no mistaking what he said. Loud, slurred, meant to insult. The kind of insult that makes a sidewall of people turn their heads. For a second, I stood there frozen. Not because I was shocked someone would say that, but because of how quickly he went from sloppy drunk to aggressively vile the moment he thought someone was foreign. There's a very specific kind of rage that bubbles up when someone attacks you, not because of anything you did, but because of where you're from, who you are, just existing. But instead of getting angry, I smiled. I looked down at the license. Then I looked back at him, now busy yelling at some car passing by. Well, if I'm gonna f off back to England, I said loud enough for his friend to hear, I might as well take a souvenir. And I slipped that driving license into my pocket. Now, I wasn't looking to fight. I wasn't looking to escalate, but I was looking to make a point. 2 minutes later, I see someone running toward me. It's his friend, the more sober one, the guy who helped pick up the bank cards. Out of breath, arms up like he didn't want trouble. "Hey man, I'm so sorry about what he said. He's wasted. Did you see where his ID went?" Credit to him, he seemed genuinely apologetic. I reached into my pocket, but instead of handing it over, I casually turned and lobbed the license deep into a thick, dark hedge lining the edge of the sidewalk. I mean deep. Not the kind of toss where it lands gently on top. The kind of throw where you know, with near mathematical certainty, that it's going to be damn near impossible to find without gloves, a flashlight, and an hour of your life. I turned back to the friend. "Yeah, it's in that hedge somewhere. Good luck." Then I walked straight into a nearby bar and disappeared into the crowd. Half an hour later, I stepped outside with a fresh drink in hand, just to catch a breeze and check out the street scene. And what do I see? Those two, Mr. Drunk and his now less patient friend, searching that hedge like raccoons. Except they were about 20 feet off from where I actually threw it. They were bent over, moving branches, poking into the dark, their expressions growing more and more desperate. Part of me wanted to walk up and give them a little hint, just to twist the knife. But honestly, the scene was perfect as it was. Because here's the thing, I wasn't just petty, I was principled. I tried to help, I really did. He could have nodded, picked up his card, maybe mumbled a thanks. Instead, he spat venom. So I gave him a tiny dose of karma. He lost something important that night, not just his ID, but maybe a bit of his pride too. I don't know if they ever found that license. Honestly, I doubt it. That hedge was the kind of place you lose footballs and never see them again. But what I do know is this: the look on his face when he realized his ID was gone, gone, that was justice. Not the loud, dramatic courtroom kind, but the small, quiet, satisfying kind. The kind you toast to later with your mates over cheap beer in a dive bar 3,000 miles from home. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It doesn't need an audience or a grand finale. It's just a simple, silent win, delivered when someone shows you exactly who they are. Let them sit in the mess they made. Let them search in the wrong spot forever. If this story gave you that sweet, justice-served feeling, hit that like button and drop a comment. What's the pettiest but most perfect revenge you've ever seen? And if you love hearing satisfying stories where karma does exactly what it's supposed to, subscribe and join us for the next one.